Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. Tell the truth or at least don't lie. This obviously I got it from Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. If you guys don't know him, you are really missing out. I think when I first chanced upon his videos, I thought, wow, this man is so brutally honest, and the way he rationalizes things and make us rethink some of the things that we've learned before really woke me up, whether it's personal or professional. I want to dedicate this video to talk about how this has helped me in my life in terms of self-development, achieving mental health, and being a little bit more balanced with myself. This very surprisingly has been one of the most useful concepts. The sentence sounds very simple, tell the truth or at least don't lie, but there's way more to that. So I actually came across this first time when I watch when you binge motivational speakers on YouTube or even on Instagram Reels, right? And this is when a few of these videos stuck in my head, like what are the impact of not telling the truth and how you actually live your life by pursuing truth, and why it's so difficult to do that, which is why a lot of people live in actually agony, but pretending to be happy, but in agony because they are in resentment, they don't really mean what they say. So there are a lot of implications. His book, 12 Rules for Life, and one of the rule is actually tell the truth or at least don't lie. I think the significance of this rule has benefited me in many ways in terms of my growth or healing journey. If you're into MBTI, a big chunk of my topic is surrounding MBTI. Previously, I was a feeling type. Not to say that feeling type is a bad thing. I'm just saying that people with extroverted feeling higher in their stack. I had FE or extroverted feeling higher in my stack. I was obviously more compassionate, more empathetic, definitely. I was always very sensitive to not just my feelings, but feelings of other people. I think maybe I'm more sensitive to other people's feelings. Therefore, a lot of times I try not to tell the truth because I know it hurts. I resent a lot of the things that I say or I do because I was living true to what I want to be or who I say I am. So the significance of that has made me rethink my ego, my identity, who I think I am. And if it's really beneficial for me to always be so empathetic and always caring about people's feelings all the time and being so cautious and worried about hurting them, the lesson learned here is anything that is done to an extreme, a long period of time, is always the dosage, right? It's the dose that makes the poison. It is the extreme that makes things more intense and towards the negative side. Therefore, that side of me back then was very worried about what people think. I was worried about judgment. I was worried about rejection. Not to say that right now I don't care at all. I care less, and I take calculated risks to whether or not I want to invite this kind of negativity in my life. So this has helped me to also draw boundaries and to be very clear about my do's and don'ts. Everybody should have their do's and don'ts. It's boundaries. If telling the truth is difficult, at least don't lie about it. It's simple as if someone were to ask you, are you okay? How are you? You don't have to lie and say, I'm fine. If you're not feeling well, it's okay to admit and say, you know what, not that great today, but I'm coping with it. You having integrity with yourself is being transparent with yourself. It's acknowledging the situation, the emotion, or whatever state you're in. You are not denying it. Delulu is definitely not the Solulu. Telling the truth also means that you don't avoid situations that you know is going to get you into trouble, that you don't avoid situations where you might cause a conflict. I think one of the most common scenarios, or even I've experienced it myself, it's whether it's workplace or with friends, it's always the case of, because you have established a kind of harmony with this person, right? Obviously, we are human beings. We can change, we can evolve, we can grow, right? So as we move on to our path, things can change, and therefore sometimes our personality can clash. Our beliefs, our perspective, our way of perceiving things can change. And with all of this, will be friction. And sometimes it is through friction that can help us to have more meaningful connection, can help us to get closer. I'm sure you guys can resonate those scenarios where you have friends that you care a lot about, and then you start to see that maybe it's yourself or maybe it's them. It doesn't matter who I'm referring to here, the whole concept. Then you start to see this person that you care about deviate their ways, or maybe they behave in a negative way, and you start to see that, hey, this person, although they have goals, they have expressed to you who they want to be, their potential, but then they do kind of things. There are two types of people. One type of people is that they will just allow it to happen. They are very graceful, they are very compassionate. They will just be like, oh, it's okay, you can take your time. But then there are this other group of people that, because we believe so much in that person's potential, we know what they're capable of, and then when we see them drowning themselves or putting themselves in situations where they don't belong, it is our duty and accountability to try and wake them up. Okay, I know it can sound very toxic with me saying that, because nowadays people are talking about codependency, trying to control other people by healing other people. Again, I think it goes back to the dosage. The dose is what makes the poison, and not to do it at extreme. Let's say there's a friend that you care so much about, you guys get along so well, and then they do something that is out of order, that you know is harming them. What do you do then? You not say anything because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you will try your very best to camouflage as much as possible without being so brutally honest with them, but they still don't get it, right? So there are instances like this that it causes the relationship to strain, because you have the intention and then you try to put a point across, you try to be truthful but not entirely truthful yet, and the person still don't get it. So sometimes you are being pushed into this situation where you have to tell the truth so that the person actually get what you mean, and then you mean what you say. And I think Jordan Peterson talks about this. People who try to pursue truth, people who try to live by this concept of always speaking the truth, will most of the time cause a lot of friction, conflict. They live in an adventure. I like how he turned this into an optimistic situation where it is an adventure to seek the truth, because if you say something that you are not sure of, is it going to turn out well, or is this person going to hate me after that? It's because you're very courageous, you're adventurous enough to stick to your truth, your belief, and say it and see what happens. And I think it is the idea of see what happens that scares a lot of people, because as human beings, majority of us, linking back to personality types again, are very much fearful of the unknown, or at least irritated by the fact that there are uncertainties in life, things that you cannot control. They just cannot let go of the fact that there are certain things that beyond what they can imagine. And so this whole unknown idea, which is extroverted intuition, which is some people are just not okay, they cannot sit well with it. Therefore, trying to always live in their truth, speak their truth, and walk around in that, it's a courageous and bold act. And I'm sure a lot of you know that there are not a lot of people who do this, because we all, when we go out, when we meet people, when we're at work, we always need to behave in a certain way. We try to observe the situation and then adjust and adapt ourselves, which is a good thing. At the same time, this is why I say that social interaction, which is what C.S. Joseph talks about a lot too. I think anyone that is into psychology would say the same. Any form of social interaction is social engineering. You're like this, so this is how I'm going to behave, and vice versa. Anyways, I'm going off tangent, okay? And then of course, this relates to conflict management. This is something that I have experienced quite a few times. Sometimes in order to avoid conflict, you will just keep quiet and you will just hide your truth, which is even worse, because sometimes it snowballs into... There's even a saying, I think it's from Jordan Peterson as well, is that conflict delayed is conflict multiplied. If I butchered that, I'm sorry. Basically, if there's something wrong and you try to hide it, it's gonna come back bigger than what it is. We all know, I'm sure you all have gone through those situations where you try to tolerate certain things that you don't believe in. You keep hiding it under the rug, and then eventually it just erupts, right? This is because we don't practice this concept of trying to speak the truth, or at least don't lie. 3 positive impacts of telling the truth, or at least don't lie, this Jordan Peterson concept is: number 1, it builds trust and credibility. Now, I'm not just referring to trust and credibility with other people, I'm also referring to yourself. When you say something, or when you really thought about, okay, this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna say, this is what I'm gonna do, these are, in a way, you trying to create that reality, right? If you act what you say, you are actually living the truth. You are being truthful. I will not be late, I will be on time, and you are actually on time. The very simple act like that, it shows that, in a way, your subconscious will actually record this as you are a trustworthy person, you are a reliable person, that you mean what you say and you carry it out with actions. And so this kind of builds your self-esteem, your confidence, because whatever that you say you're going to do, you promise yourself and you're actually going to do it. And of course, if you build this kind of trust, credibility, accountability, this relationship, this strong relationship with yourself, imagine what kind of relationship you will have with other people. Imagine what kind of perception people will have of you. You are a trustworthy person, you are a credible person. Whatever you say, there's weight and value to it because you mean what you say. So if you want to lead an honest, authentic life with people, creating this kind of connection with people, I don't see any other way than trying to be truthful and honest and being authentic. Do this with caution though, because you cannot just one day flip the switch and tell the truth the way it is. I think it's going to shock a lot of people. So I think these kind of things, you kind of maybe need to take it one step at a time. Maybe right now, think of one situation where there's something burning inside that you want to tell someone that you care about. And then maybe think of a scenario or invite them to a place where it's a little bit more comforting, and then maybe have coffee with them and then try to bring up the truth. In my experience, it wasn't easy for me to do that. I recall back a few years ago when I got really inspired by this concept. I first introduced it at a workplace with my team members. In one of our group meetings where we each have to ask a question or share something that we learn, we like to do this kind of like exchanges, and that is when I introduced that I think in order for all of us to strive to be better, to have stronger relationship, let's all try to always speak the truth and or at least don't lie. We actually started out with don't lie first, because don't lie is actually way easier than telling the truth. So meaning to say, we had this pact or promise to each other that whenever we sense, smell, or can see that you're not okay, and we ask you if you're okay, you have to do your very best to not lie and say, I'm fine, I'm okay. So we started out with that, and then it just became more one-to-one conversations, and then try to bring out the truth. But we always have a disclaimer, and because this is being brought out and is aligned by all of us, it actually went quite well, but I must say that it wasn't a smooth process. It's not always a smooth sailing journey, because there will be moments where we get caught up with our emotions and then it becomes very difficult to tell the truth. That is for sure. But I think what's most important is that we are always constantly reminded of it and trying to practice it. The second positive impact is that it promotes self-respect and builds your integrity as a person. I think overall this is how it's going to impact you in terms of your mental well-being, whether you have confidence with yourself. It is like a crossover with the first one, trust and credibility with other people, yourself. And then the second point is your self-integrity and confidence. If you have very strong relationship, you have very honest interaction with people, you're very authentic, you don't have resentment, you don't go to sleep thinking about, oh, what if I say this, or what if this person thinks this way about me. You are not going to doubt your identity or what you believe in. And therefore, I think this kind of affirms your values, you align your actions with your true beliefs, and so you will overall be a more grounded person. If anything comes your way, you are not going to be shaken that easily. Last but not least, The third positive impact is it facilitates problem solving and growth. Whether it's a workplace, whether it's for your family members, your group of friends, when you try to live this concept or practice this concept, and everybody around you is aware of that and is aligned with you on doing that, it's going to be a very harmonious place where whenever there's conflict, it gets resolved easily. You don't hold any regrets or remorse towards someone. You don't have that bitter feeling. You don't have this passive-aggressive behavior. That passive-aggressive behavior is something that I think is extremely draining and not necessary in any relationship. I say problem solving and growth, you would avoid a lot of misunderstandings, and whenever something arises, you guys are out there to, okay, this is the truth of what's happening. We get to the bottom of things, go to the root cause, and then we try to fix things. So it's not about your ego, my ego. It's helping with better decision making, healthier communication. I think we all can agree that this all sounds like the things that we want when it comes to better mental being and just improve harmony in relationships. Some easy ways you can incorporate this into your life is obviously do some reflection. Write down in a journal, a digital journal, a physical journal. Write down what are the 1 or 2 person that you haven't been really truthful about. What are you going to do about it? What is that baby steps you're going to take to do that? Or at least you can set it as a mini goal for yourself. Every time somebody asks me something about how I feel, what I think, how am I doing today, that you're not going to lie. That is going to do a lot of wonders for you, because the more you speak or act in a way that is authentic, you will build assurance and confidence to progress. And I'm not saying that along this journey it's going to be easy. Sometimes you can really get into trouble when you are very truthful, which I have. I'm the kind of person that I would just try it and then see what happens. And then you need to be okay with the consequence, of course. I don't believe in just, oh, okay, let's not try, because you never know, right? Some shit is gonna happen. Life is not worth if you are not experiencing everything. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts about truth-telling. Have you experienced this? Are you currently going through something like this? Let me know what else you would like to know. I think in the future series, I'm going to do more of this kind of videos where I share a key takeaway that I got from a book that I enjoyed and share with you the practical things that you can take away to immediately adopt to improve your life. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.